Hello viewers, this is Addis Media Network and the English program. Today we have a guest here from Colombia, Bogotá's Mayor Enrique, and our program is Talk to Addis. Do stay with us. Thank you very much to be with us in our program. Would you mind introducing yourself?
About myself?
Yeah.
Okay, I am Enrique Penalosa. I was mayor of Bogotá, Colombia in 2 occasions, and I have worked internationally as an advisor and consultant and lecturer in many cities all over the world.
You have been a mayor of Bogotá city. What was your achievement when you was a mayor, and what was your success?
We did many things. For example, we did hundreds of kilometers of protected bikeways 10 years before Paris or New York or London. In 1999, 98, we did, when only there were bikeways in the Netherlands and Denmark, we did a very large investment. Today in Bogota, we have more than 1 million trips by bicycle every day. And we also have a BRT, like you're planning to do. I did the BRT in Bogota, called the Transmilenio. This is a system which is relatively small, only has 114 kilometers, but it moves 2.4 million passengers per day. And I think that's exactly what Addis needs, because it's a system that costs much less than a metro, and it does many things that are similar.
You are here in Addis Ababa. You have watching, you have observing different things in Addis Ababa under construction. Addis Ababa, in Addis Ababa there are different constructions. For example, you have visited here Adwa Memorial Museum and the corridor development under construction in Addis Ababa. So far, what do you observe from these constructions about Addis Ababa?
Well, I think what Mayor Addis Ababa is doing is wonderful. The most important thing is that he's making something that is very difficult, which is making sidewalks. The biggest problem with developing cities is the lack of sidewalks. The worst enemy of a democratic and quality city in developing countries is that cars want to park. People with cars are those who have higher income, and they think they are more important than pedestrians. And so they park where there should be sidewalks. So the most important thing in a city is to have excellent sidewalks and never to have parks, never to have cars parked where there should be sidewalks. And so what Mayor Addis Ababa is doing is very important, because she's making many important things for people, like parks and the BRT, but I think the most important is great sidewalks and bikeways. What makes a difference between an advanced city and a backward city is not that there are highways or subways, it's that there are quality sidewalks. And so I believe what she's doing is very important. Also, I think the renewal that she's doing is very valuable, the urban renewal, because I think it's opening up public spaces for all. And it's in areas where I see they're doing renewal, they're making good sidewalks and bikeways and public transport, and I think that's important. I understand some of the people who are being, whose houses are being demolished are being relocated to the same place, to new buildings or to other places. This is an interesting subject, but what is important is that we are creating a city that is much better, because the sidewalks and the areas that are being done today is not just for the people who live there, but for millions who live in Addis Ababa and who will live in the future.
We have widened the roads. We have brought those roads into standard, and above all, we are realizing our plan to stop vehicles and pedestrians go on the same line. We have developed about 48-kilometer vehicle road, 96-kilometer pedestrian lane, and more than 100-kilometer cycling road. We have developed half of the cycling lane within 3 months from the route which was planned to be built in 5 years. It's not only for the road that we cleared those corridors, but also to fulfill necessary facilities for those roads. We have built about 48 taxi and bus terminals and parking facilities with different sizes in those corridors. It will bring critical change on the safety of our roads in the city.
With regard to the road development, a lot of facilities like electric, water, telephone, security camera, drainage, sewerage have been built in. This creates great service satisfaction in the society.
This is a huge construction work which serves for recreational purposes to the community. The place where we stand now will have benches and plazas. It will have fountain and its finishing will be made through granite. We are found on the activity of realizing this project before the beginning of June and will make it open to public service.
The
corridor development is being underway in various places of the city. We have been participating since the research work to assess its significance on the city's traffic flow and safety. We have assigned experts in each site. The corridor development has a lot of significance regarding hygiene, greenery, and creating comfortable ways for pedestrians. It has also introduced new transportation mode, which is cycling. This has brought a new opportunity to use cycling as a new transportation mode in the future. The developments in the corridor project also fit the global standard considering of comfortable facilities for people with disabilities. As it has a protected walkway, it will minimize the traffic accident on pedestrians. The corridor development also creates opportunities to have separated taxi and bus terminals which help us to manage it in an organized way. I believe this is a very nice starting, but it should be expanded to other places of the city. Most part of the city needs a project. I think it is a critical and significant project to improve the mobility and safety of the city's traffic. It may be because of lack of enough resources that we couldn't work on all places at once, but it should be expanded to other areas as it is the most transformative project for the city.
Have you ever visited another African country's cities?
Yes, I have been to many cities. I have been to Cape Town, to Johannesburg, to Dar es Salaam, to Nairobi, to Dakar, to Accra, to Lagos, to many cities, and also to Arabian cities such as Cairo, to Tunis. I mean, to many cities I have been.
Hi, my name is Michael. I'm visiting from Miami, Florida, USA. It's my very first time in Addis and in Ethiopia. I'm very impressed with the nature, the beauty, with the hospitality. Everyone has been so warm and welcoming. In Jeddah, and yeah, I love it. It's kind of similar to the food I'm used to back home. I'm Cuban, and it's a lot of similar taste, similar method of cooking, so I feel at home. I recommend to come and visit and spend a lot of time here and try the food and meet the people.
Visiting this park is my first time. I feel very happy. It is a unique place. The weather is so good. It is a beautiful place. I think more parks are needed in order to recreate and spend time with our family. I recommend people to come here and visit.
I think Addis Ababa is great, and this is my very first time to arrive in Addis Ababa, so I have a very good experience. And I'm just informed that Ethiopia has never been colonized. This is a very new information, and actually I think this is why you guys, Ethiopia has a very is ahead of so many countries compared to, like, let's say, for example, let's mention the airline. You guys are incredible. You are doing a very great work. So, congratulations. I'm really I like Addis Ababa.
Well, there's been a lot of change in Addis Ababa. It now looks like a modern city. I first landed in Addis Ababa in 1994, so that's not yesterday. And it's a very welcome development. We see the infrastructure, some trees are being grown. Before, this city never used to have trees. But we also want to assume that the physical infrastructure we see is coupled with social infrastructure in terms of hygiene, water being available, clean water, that there is electricity, so that the development we're seeing is actually meaningful. But otherwise, it's been a big improvement, and actually, it's not just Addis Ababa. If you go into the continent, all the cities, or most of our cities, have made good progress.
Addis Ababa. Addis Ababa is a beautiful city. I know Addis Ababa since 2010. I was here back then with the other democracy practitioners to develop a specific training curriculum on leadership and conflict management skills for electoral stakeholders. And since then I came back very frequently, also for the African Union Summit, but also because since 2019 we do have a project to support SECOE, the domestic observation organization here for elections in Ethiopia, and we also support the National Electoral Board of Ethiopia.
In Addis Ababa, there are a number of newly built parks like Entoto, Unity and Friendship. The Adwa Victory Memorial is also another beauty for the city. The hospitality of residents of the city, including hotel services, is something guests will not forget.
Been to Addis several times, primarily because of the African Union. And yeah, every time I come, I see there's a lot of development going on. Infrastructure is improving, the roads, lots of construction. It's just more and more appealing. The green tourism that I see, opportunities for visiting lots of places, to see both historic monuments in Ethiopia, as well as green areas. So I think it's really improving and really developed. So I hope I'll get some time from the summit to visit. But I mean, I've done some visits in the past. The museum where we saw the first man, what was it called, in Ethiopia. I've seen that in the past, but I want to see even the newer things. I've heard of the Adwa Museum, and I would like to see that as well, to see how, Ethiopia is a country that has never been colonized, and their history is very rich, very interesting, to see for the rest of Africa. So I think I would look forward to seeing that museum in particular.
Mr. Enrique, Addis Ababa is under construction. You know that you are here for different reasons. You have visited different places. So there are many activities in other countries. What can you say about Addis Ababa and the other cities of the world?
Yes, but I think what Addis Ababa, I think more important than these international organizations are businesses. We need to attract businesses and tourists who generate development. They are much more important than the international organizations, and which are important too. And so I think what Addis Ababa is doing is the most important thing that is being done at this moment in any city in Africa, and I think in almost in any developing city in the world, because as I said, I repeat, the most important thing is to have quality sidewalks and pedestrian spaces. Now, it's very important that the BRT is done, that we realize that if we have a democracy, a bus with 100 passengers has a right to 100 times more space than a car with one. And a bicycle, somebody in a bicycle has a right to the same amount of space than somebody in a car. It's not like the person who is walking or in a bicycle is in an inferior citizen. No, they have the right to the same amount of space, of road space, than a car. And so now it's very important that the BRT is done well, because Addis is going to grow enormously. Addis Ababa, people don't realize it, but Addis is going to be easily 15 times bigger than it is now. So Addis now has 5.5 million inhabitants, and it will have 50 million inhabitants Addis is in 50 years or 60 or 70 years. Addis Ababa is growing the equivalent of one New York every 10 years. So you have to build one New York every 10 years, almost. So it's a huge challenge. So it's important that one great advantage that Ethiopia has is that land is publicly owned. So it's possible to save a lot of land for parks and to do a city that is better than any other city in the world, with more parks than any. So we must be careful that I believe that Addis Ababa should make a detailed plan for a growth 10 times the size it has now, and to save all the land for parks and for public buildings such as schools and hospitals and roads. And again, the only possibility, economic possibility to have mobility in Addis in the future will be BRT, bus-based transport. As Addis becomes giant, they will need also some subways, but most of the people will move by bus. And so this is very critical that the BRT is well done.
Mr. Enrique, do you believe that Addis Ababa has a hope to develop or to be developed city in the world?
Of course. I think clearly Addis Ababa is doing very positive things, and I am absolutely confident that Ethiopia is going to be a developed country and Addis Ababa is going to be a developed city. I see many people who are very bright, very disciplined, and I have no doubt that this is going to be one of the important countries in the world.
There are challenges when a city is under construction. So you have faced different challenges in Bogotá. Also, we can say different challenges in Addis Ababa. So the challenges you have faced and the challenges here in Addis Ababa are very big. So what can you say about these challenges? How can we overcome those challenges?
If you want to do a better city, you have to confront many battles. You have to fight against those people. You know, the biggest problem is upper income people, the 10% richest people who want to put their cars anywhere and to park where there should be sidewalks. So it is a war. It's a war, and that has to be won. If we want to have an advanced society and a quality city, an international quality, we cannot have parking bays. We have to have. The most important thing, we have many fancy buildings in Addis, but the important thing is not how they look from afar. The important thing about a building is what happens when they reach the ground, where they have great walking facilities for people to talk, to play, to do business, and not cars parked there. That is not a civilized city. For example, in the center of London, for the last 70 years, office buildings have not been allowed to have parking. So it must be understood. Upper income people want subways, but they don't have the intention of using them. So upper income people in Addis, as in all developing cities, they use the subway in New York, and they use the subway in Paris, and they use the subway in London, but they don't use the public transport next to the low-income Ethiopians because they feel they are superior. So we must understand that in terms of transport, an advanced city is not one where even the poor have cars, but rather is one where even the rich use public transport. That's an advanced city. So if upper income people want to have public transport, they must understand they must use it too. It's not just for the poor, it's for themselves. So if we want Addis to be an international city, again, and a city that attracts tourism, the most important thing is to have sidewalks everywhere, because that's what people do when they go as tourists. Walk, 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 walk. Sidewalks are more important than museums and than monuments and all that. Sidewalks are what people like to do when they go as tourists. Sidewalks with trees, with shops, with restaurants, things like this.
Thank you very much to be our guest in Addis Media Network and talk to Addis program. Mr. Enrique, thank you very much. on behalf of our audiences. So, viewers, we have a guest here and we have stayed with him. So we hope that we have gained different experiences from Bogota city's achievements and the mayor. Thank you for watching us. We have another program. Do stay with us. Thank you for watching us again.